So I have pre-prepared some agar to pour, and I stepped away for a second because I'm getting that out of the pressure cooker. But we're gonna go every step. But because you need your agar to cool for a little while, I wanted to go and to pressure cook it for a while. I wanted to make sure that I had some ready to go. Still see that kind of sitting in the back here, but we're not gonna pour it yet. First, we are going to let it cool for a few minutes, and we're gonna go into the process of making the agar, which is so super easy. I have kind of an exciting announcement. So the surprise, I'm not going to make you guys wait for it. Um, Anybody who's here attending tonight, you're going to want to send your name and address to our wonderful moderator, Ann Teeter. She's collecting them to give to me because I'm sending you all this 250 milliliter sample of Treatig's agar premix. It's his fire recipe. It's what I use personally. It's wonderful. I want to thank Treatig's for doing this with me. He sold these to me at cost, which was really pretty inexpensive for me. And he made all of these for you guys so that I could share these with you. So not only are you learning agar tonight, you're going to have the fire mix that I personally am using in this video, and you're going to be able to make it yourselves at home. So I'm really excited about that because agar will change the way that you do your mycology. And I think that that's, for me, it was a game changer, and it was just a pivotal point in getting moving forward in my journey. So what I'm going to start with first is a media vial. It's 250 milliliters. I had to step away and get it because I'm me. All right. So this is a media vial. I don't know if you're familiar with a media vial or if any of you have seen them before. They're very inexpensive on Amazon. And in the YouTube video for this, I will be linking these supplies. These are really inexpensive. I think I bought 8 the last time or 10 for $25. They are vented on their own, so you don't have to drill a hole in it. You don't have to do anything with it. And they're made for this purpose, for media. So what we're going to do now is, and this is, it's so easy. You guys are going to be like, why did I wait so long for agar? You just take it and you open it up. It's the pouch you're getting is going to be pre-measured. It's about 7.5 grams, but you don't have to measure it. It's in here. It's ready to go for you. You can use whatever kind of water you want. It doesn't have to be distilled for agar because we're just sterilizing it for 30 minutes, which is kind of, a long time. I am using distilled though. And on a 250 milliliter vial, media jar, there's a line that says 200, but then there's this rim here. That's 250. So we're just going to put the water in here up to that 250 line. I did not get my manicure this week, so forgive my ugly nails. I still have black nail polish coming off from the last couple. So what we're going to do next is just pour this packet in there. Before I pour it in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake it up because sometimes the LME and the agar powder, in my opinion, can separate a little bit. So I'm just opening it up, making sure that I have that bottom part open too. I'm going to open it and I'm going to dump it in this water. So the directions will often say that you need to cook it or, you'll get more favorable results. This is how I do it every time myself. And it works great. It's just fine. It's awesome. Takes like no time at all. I think I did a YouTube video on this once because I did it in less than 3 minutes. And I was like, I could even share this on Instagram. Okay, so we're just shaking this up really good. Make sure you get it really shaken well. That's it. I'm going to pressure cook this for 30 minutes. That's it. That's it. It's done. So now we're going to pour some agar. And this is also very easy to do. It takes minutes. It's so simple and quick. But there is a method to do it that makes it a little easier. And I'm loving that I get to share this with you guys again. So I'm just going to grab my Petri dishes, which I've got right here. So this will make for most people, this will make about 20. I tend to pour mine light because I use them a lot on sterilizing or testing my liquid cultures. So the way that you want to open these, if you look at this, so there's the wider part, which is the cap, and then there's this smaller part, which is the bottom. You want to open them bottom down. But first, before you do that, we're going to spray these down with alcohol, just the whole thing. Don't be afraid to use too much. There's no such thing as too much right now with this because Agar's job is literally, it's not just a mycology thing. This is something they use in microbiology. So this is a lab thing meant to grow bacteria. I do wear gloves for this. You know, you guys know I'm not a proponent of gloves all the time, but for this, I do wear them. So I'm going to snip this small side down, so bottoms down. And this part is important because you don't want to dump these out where the lids come off. The reason I did it that way is so I could just take them out just like that. You want to save the sleeve because you can use this to cover your plates afterwards. If it's so to start out, if it's easier for you, and this will make sense when we start pouring, you can separate them into stacks of 5 because we're going to be holding that entire stack. Just spraying down this other one here. All right. Carefully lifting that sleeve. I couldn't get the Celebrate plates I wanted. They were sold out. So I got these. These were from China. They were very inexpensive, but they do the trick. I personally like these 60 millimeter Petri dishes because I have, as you can imagine, hundreds of cultures. So I touched these scissors. So I'm gonna put a little alcohol in my hands. I'm gonna use this alcohol to wipe down this bottle really well before I open it. And I'm gonna get a paper towel and I'm gonna spray some alcohol on the paper towel. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna give this one more stir. This is how you pour agar. This is the best way to pour agar. So if your jar is a little hot, you can an oven mitt. I might put on my dirty oven mitt in a minute. We'll see. Or you can hold it with a paper towel with alcohol. If you're pouring it a little too hot, it's not a big deal. You can just leave it, in your still air box or in front of your flow hood with the lids on, and some of that moisture will evaporate. All right, so this is a little toasty, so I am going to grab a paper towel to hold it with. I keep my paper towel in front of my flow hood so it stays clean. So here's the technique for pouring. You're going to start with the bottom dish and you're just going to lift the lid. So I've got this plate here that is empty. You want to start with your wrist at a low center of gravity so that you're not splashing. So it's natural to just start pouring, but you want to go out a little bit so that you're pouring from lower. You're going to get fewer bubbles that way. See how fast this is? If you get bubbles, don't try to poke them. Don't just leave them alone. They won't hurt anything. They're just, they're not physically appealing, but leave them alone. You do not want to touch this. So I'm only touching the outer rim of the lids when I'm doing this. And you'll see that, so I did this one just like the one I showed you on camera, how I mixed it. It's crystal clear. It doesn't have any residue in it. This is such a good recipe that Tree Digs came up with. I love it. It's so, so good. And it's so easy. There's really just no excuse not to do it. The Petri dishes you can get for, I believe it's about 100 for $20. If you have a little more money to spend, you can get even 250, 500 for 50 or $60. Um, Still have a little left over, and I'm over 20 plates, so I'm gonna just use this other stuff that I opened and taped shut. I don't usually do that, but I do everything in front of a flow head, so I'm not concerned about it, and I don't want to waste. I'm just trying to pour from the same area that we already poured in, that we wiped down. And I think that we are just about tapped out. Yep. Boom. So, what do you do next?
I'm in there.
You let them dry. You're gonna let these dry fully. It's gonna take. I usually leave mine setting for about an hour, and then once they are dry and they're not jiggly, you're gonna take them to. So right now they're sitting like this. You're gonna flip them. That's how you get the condensation to go away, is by flipping them. And then you can just put the sleeve over them like this. You don't need to individually seal them with micropore tape. If you are careful and you put them somewhere that's, a low traffic area that you're not going to knock into them, you can just tent them with this plastic, or you can do this with a jar. You can stack them in a jar like this. These are all opened, and cover them, and they'll be just fine. And then you can seal them up when you use them. Or you can keep them stacked upside down in a jar like that, and it works just fine. So I hope that you guys learned something from this. And I hope that you guys have an abundant rest of your week.